Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Goddess Empress Amin Ra, and I'm your morning anchor, and I'm here with my co host.
DJ Almighty Amin Ra.
Good morning, Almighty.
How you doing, Empress?
I'm good, thank you. All right, before we get started with the world news, let's jump right into the announcements. In our first announcement, SL Podcast World News is still hiring for live field reporters. Our live field reporters will be responsible for going out on the grid to capture live events, conduct interviews with SL entrepreneurs, and report back to our anchor management. The right candidate must possess a great personality, must have their own live stream, and must have a working knowledge of the OBS software. And other announcements, SL Podcast World News is now offering services for event advertisement, commercials, and SL entrepreneur interviews. Pricing for these services can be found at the front desk and of the station located in the ILCM, or you can simply contact myself, Jason's Lyric Resident, for more information. Now back to the news. All right, Almighty, what do we have first in headline news?
We have Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, says, I only busted migrants to New York City because Eric Adams opened his big mouth and
That
lied. The Texas governor, Greg Adams, said. Wow.
That's how the three-term Republican describes his 2022 decision to send 119,000 migrants from the Texas border to sanctuary cities across the county, including more than 45,000 to New York alone. In an exclusive interview with the Post, Abbott explained that at first he was only sending migrant buses to Washington, D.C. to make a point about the Biden-Harris administration's failure to crack down on the massive surge of illegal crossings and relieve some pressure on the border towns that were being overwhelmed. I thought you know what? New York is a city, is a sanctuary city. If I'm gonna get the criticism, I'm gonna get the credit. So we started busing them to New York, is what Abbott said. Abbott then started sending buses not just to New York, but to major sanctuary cities across the U.S. from Los Angeles to Chicago and Denver. The results was a program that may have changed the course of politics, helping to turn the influx of millions of migrants from a border state problem into a national issue that has impacted large portions of the U.S. and making immigration and border policy one of the biggest issues in the 2024 election. Migrants from the border were already arriving in New York City by the summer of 2022, though Abbott said Texas wasn't involved in sending them. In July, Adams claimed migrants coming to NYC were arriving on buses sent by the Texas and Arizona governments, which both Abbott and Arizona Governor Doug Ducey vehemently denied at the time. Vehemently denied at the time. A City House source said NYC officials believe that many migrants were coming to New York after being bused to Washington as part of Abbott's program. To be sure, most of the migrants who have arrived in New York and other cities came on their own. Abbott buses were responsible for about 20% of the 210,000 migrants who have passed through the city shelter system since 2022. The operation was described by many locals and federal leaders as a racist use of human and political pawns, including by Adams, who called Abbott anti American for shipping people on buses. How do you feel about this, Almighty?
Well, that's pretty interesting. That was very vocal of the governor of Texas to tell the governor, another governor, a black governor at that, to shut the hell up or to shut his mouth. I don't know. I mean, I don't understand it. Why these some of these southern white Republicans think they could just talk to anybody any kind of way. I don't get
I
it.
I personally wondering to myself why it was okay for Adams to excuse me, not Adams, Abbott to bus these migrants to all these different states if they're trying to cut down. I don't see. I mean, he was doing this to show the Biden administration that they're not doing a good job at lowering the
Immigrants.
the crossing of immigrants into the United States. But I don't think that was a really good idea to bombard New York with so many migrants. I guess I don't know. Is it okay for a governor to send migrants to other cities? Is that okay?
I guess if they choose to get them out their state, I guess it's okay. Yes.
But isn't that just kind of like putting the pressure on other cities, other states? I mean, I guess if they have these sanctuaries, I guess it would be okay to send them to the sanctuary. But it seems like to me, 210,000 migrants is kind of a lot of people to send to one state.
Right. And then another thing I don't understand too, this is supposed to be the United States of America. Yes, I understand different states have different laws. I do
Right.
understand that.
Absolutely.
But shouldn't they just work together? I mean,
I
how
would
hard
think
is it for you to
so.
work together?
I personally would think so. I mean, I think if he was doing it because he was actually trying to help the migrants, that would be one thing. But he clearly said he was doing this because he wanted to show the Biden administration that they weren't really governing the borders. So, or cutting down on the migrant influx that was coming into the United States. So, personally, I mean, I don't know. I think Adams need to be checked for, for this kind of behavior because
It's not
I'm
Adams.
sorry, not Adams. Abbott needs to be checked for
Yes.
this kind of behavior because, I mean, he wasn't doing it just because he was trying to help the people. He was doing it to prove a point, a
Yeah, he was
moot
being
point.
petty.
Right? He was being petty. I agree. All right. Well, do you have anything else you want to say about this? The headline news.
Nah, I digress on that part.
I digress too. Let's. What do we have next in weather news?
In the weather, we still feeling the effects of Hurricane Helene. Thousands of people reported unaccounted for in North Carolina County hit hardest by Hurricane Helene.
That's correct. More than 1,000 people have been reported unaccounted for in a devastated North Carolina county where 30 people have already been confirmed dead after Hurricane Helene. Officials said Sunday authorities in Buncombe County reported the horrifying toll in an emergency meeting announcing emergency medical shelters and ongoing rescue efforts in areas almost overwhelmed by stormwater. They also announced a special website to appeal for help finding those unaccounted for, with more than 1,000 reports so far. One local official the live stream told the live stream meeting. Let's see. We were doing our best. We are doing the. Excuse me. We're doing the best we can. Buncombe County Sheriff Quentin Miller said of conditions making it almost impossible to reach the stranded due to collapsed roads, failing infrastructure, and widespread flooding. Many of the unaccounted for are hoped to just be those without electricity and the ability to let loved ones know that they are safe, officials said. However, the county home to Asheville already has 30 of the Tar Heel State's 36 confirmed dead, a terrible toll expected to soon rise, Governor Roy Cooper conceded. All right, so it says that they know that there will be more. Emergency response teams have rescued more than 40 people in the Asheville area, including an infant, thanks to a combination of 911 calls and pleas for help on social media. North Carolina Adjutant General Todd Hunt said critical supplies are being airlifted to stranded communities as crews scramble to clear roads and restore communication lines. As of Sunday afternoon, Helena has killed at least 89 people and left millions without power since the storm slammed into Florida on Thursday. Wow, this storm seems like it has been tearing up not just Carolina. Carolina got it the worst, but this storm has crossed and tore up a lot of places. Almighty.
Yes, I mean, you would think that by the time the hurricane hit, Florida, the rest of the surrounding states wouldn't be hit as hard. But
Mm-hmm.
because in the ocean borders, people usually evacuate. So they'll go
Right.
north or they'll go west or whatnot.
Right.
But you would never think that that hurricane would hit Georgia like that,
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina, North Carolina, and parts of Tennessee.
Absolutely. And you know what? I was just about to say this is why it is very important For those of y'all watching, when you see that there is a hurricane, is probably the only natural disaster where you get a good advance warning. And if you know that it's headed in your direction, they usually give you like days, like 2 or 3 days in advance. You know when it's gonna hit your area. It's okay to evacuate. Yeah, you might lose your house, you might lose some material things, some materialistic things, but you will still have your life. You can still survive this. Like you can pick back up and you can rebuild, but you can't rebuild your life if you're caught in a storm that you could have evacuated from. When it hit Florida, when it started to hit Georgia, this is the time where, if you know you are in the path of the storm, you need to take the time to evacuate, because that's why early warning is put in place, so people can start to evacuate. And I don't think a lot of people take that serious enough to the fact that they should actually consider evacuating when they know a storm is coming, and when they know that they are in direct path of the storm. What do you think, Almighty?
Yes, especially the ones, like I said, I understand when people in Florida, okay, they're gonna get hit. But the people that's like inland, like Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina and stuff like that, they don't expect anything to happen, that bad because they so far away from the ocean.
No, they're
But if
still
you live in,
coastal. Like parts of
yeah,
North Carolina and Georgia and all the states that you're naming, Tennessee. Well, not Tennessee. I don't. Well, not Tennessee, but some of the other states that you're naming, some parts of that state is still coastal, and the parts that got hit hardest are the ones closest to the coast.
yes, it is, but not necessarily. There was a lot of places that got hit that was nowhere near the coast.
Well, the
See, you gotta
flooding,
understand.
the torrential
Yes,
rains caused the flooding, of course. So I mean, I
right.
agree with that. The torrential rains caused the flooding, and for those that did not, they probably didn't think they needed to evacuate. But it happened in Georgia. Like like you were saying, some of these inland people in Georgia that got hit with flooding and stuff like that. That should have been enough warning for people in North Carolina, any other state that's in the vicinity or the path of the storm, to know, hey, let's take precautions. Let's get some precautions in place. Maybe we should evacuate, because it did hit some cities in Georgia that was inland that caught a lot of flooding. So you kind of have to be prepared. I'm not saying that people, wasn't trying to prepare for the storm, but I just don't think a lot of people don't take the early warning system very seriously. And I just think this is something that people need to revisit and come up with a storm plan. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, I totally understand that, and people gotta understand, just because you inland, that doesn't mean you're not gonna get hit the hardest. Because you gotta understand your area. If you're in a flood zone, you may need to get up out of there too, because it don't take long for that water to rise at all.
Exactly. So that's one of the things. That's one of the most important things I was trying to say too. Like, it doesn't take long for water to rise, and a lot of people don't realize this. Sometimes when you see a street that's been flooded, the water is deeper, can be deeper than you know. And like, there was this one, I would think I was reading in this one story in North Carolina, where there was a sinkhole beneath the flood, like right within the flood area. It created a sinkhole. So this is like something that you have to take, and don't go through flooded waters on the streets. If you are not sure, if you see that the waters is up to the car doors, that to me is too much water for me already. I wouldn't want to get out there in waters that I can't see through, that then came all the way up to almost halfway up to the halfway level of a car. I mean, I don't know. People just got to be more precautious when it come down to stuff like hurricanes and natural disasters, and take the early warning system very serious.
That's true.
All right, so we're gonna move on. Almighty, what do we have next in sports news?
Sports news. Over the weekend, horrific brawl broke out at Atlanta Falcons and Saints game, with fans stomping at one another in an ugly scene. Mm.
That's correct. An ugly scene occurred in the stands of Mercedes-Benz Stadium during Sunday's 26-24 win by the Falcons over their NFC South rival, the Saints. Video emerged of a horrifying fight in the upper levels of the Falcons Stadium where a fan in a white Falcons jersey was recorded kicking and stomping on the heads of another man before a female fan was able to get control of him and pull him away from continuing the attack. It's unclear when exactly it's unclear when during the game the disturbing event occurred, but a second social media post seemed to confirm the beatdown happened in or around section 321. It says in the post that a Falcons fan pulled a Saints fan down and repeatedly started crushing his head and nearly killing the man. Multiple women in attendance got pretty seriously injured due to the many fights that broke out. I mean, what do you think about that story?
Well, people, this is a sport. This is not. We're not in Rome at the Colosseum battling gladiators and shit. I mean, this is just sports.
Right. This is not the titan. This is not the fight of the titans.
Way too far.
Absolutely. This is
that
crazy.
Man need to be in jail.
Let me see. A second video seemingly picks up when the fight when first fight left off, focusing on a man in a black shirt and jeans pinning another man in a white shirt down. As a separate individual wearing a red Falcons jersey comes in to break up the skirmish, visible in the background was the fan in the white Falcons jersey appearing to try and take another swing at the person he had been fighting. Still was down on the ground. Let me see if there was any arrest made. The video showed the second female fan jumped in to prevent him from punching the man on the ground. I don't see whether or not there was any arrest made, but it does say there is an open investigation. So, yeah, I will link this information down in the description. So if you guys want to keep up with this story, keep up with these stories, you can check the description and follow up with the stories at a later time. Almighty?
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, like I said, people, y'all taking these sports way too far. We're not in Rome. We're not at the Gladiators Coliseum waiting for somebody to die. We're not doing that. I mean, this is modern day sports here.
Right. And like I said, you're right. This is ridiculous. Like, somebody needed to be arrested for this because this is just a sport. You don't go this far just for a game. This is too much. And this person almost stomped this person to death, stomped this person in the head to death. That's crazy.
And the crazy part is, you're not getting paid. You giving up money.
Right.
So, what's the need for all that?
There is no need for all that. That's the crazy part about it is nothing was resolved doing all that. Well, to the victim, our thoughts and prayers for the victims in the hurricane as well as the victim of this sporting event. We're gonna go on and get started with events. We have a couple of Seraphim reported that there are about 3 hunts going on. Halloween and Harvest of Souls Festival and hunt. It started September the 23rd and it goes until October the 31st. So if you haven't had an opportunity to get over to Hallow's and Harvest of Souls Festival, take a moment to go over to the sim. I will link the floral to get to the venue in the description below. Also, there's HUDs of Horrors. It started September the 5th, and today is the last day. So if you guys want to get over there to HUDs of Horror, this is the last day to get in over there to check out the event. I also linked that in the description. And the last one that's still going on is Still of the Nights 2. This is a grid-wide hunt. It started September the 1st. And actually, it's ended already. I'm sorry. It started September the 1st and it ended September the 30th. So that hunt is already gone. But you still got today to get over to HUD of Horrors. And you got to the 31st to do Hallow's Ends, Harvest of Souls. Also in events, the Purge at Club Luminous Sinful Saturdays, all Saturdays of the month of October, from from 7 to 10 SLT. So you guys want to make sure you get out here and get your purge costumes together at Club Luminous every Saturday from 7 to 9 through the month of October. Mighty, do you have anything you want to add to the event?
Yes, let's purge together. Every Saturday in October, we're gonna be purging with DJ Sin, myself, DJ Almighty, and DJ V Player. We
Yes.
gonna purge, so come fuck with us.
Yes, show up this Friday, and excuse me, this Saturday, which is October the 5th, from 7 to 10 p.m., and enjoy the Purge at Club Luminous. All right, is there anything else?
Yes, today also I'm gonna be at the System, a club called the System. So come hang with me there too from 4 to 6 today. I'll be there. We're gonna be partying, we're gonna be parlaying, having fun. You know how I do.
All right, well,
What's
y'all,
up?
y'all come out today from 4 to 6 p.m. SLT at the System Club and join DJ Almighty as he spins the ones and twos. Um, yeah,
Yes. What is it? Bamboo Island. That's what it is.
yes, on the
Bamboo Island.
Bamboo Island Sim, and I will link that information in the description below. As you guys know, we are always reporting the trending news topics, as well as all of the events that goes on in SL. If you have an advertisement or you would like to get a commercial made to get played during our broadcast, please contact us at SL World News, SL Podcast World News at gmail.com, or you can contact myself, Jason's Lyric Resident, or Almighty Jahim Amin Ra resident, for more information, and we can get that done for you. Jahim, do you have anything you want to say before we go?
Yes. Also, we still looking for DJs and hostess. We still looking for news anchors. We if you got a commercial that needs to be done, uh, let us know, and we get right back with you.
All right.
Other than that, I digress.
All right. Well, good day, good afternoon, and good evening.
Good evening.